Hello, hello, hello. Hey, y'all. It's me, SB. Yes, yes,
Dearly
yes.
beloved,
I'm here tonight just to say hello. I miss y'all, Lady Navoa. I miss you. Me and Mr. Boss have been busy, and I'm just like, gosh, we don't have time. But guess what? This week, y'all gonna see us because our schedule is clearing up and we are going to be here doing lives and just getting back in touch with you guys because it's been a while. And we gotta sneak it in when we can. So that's what tonight's all about. I just want to come tonight to say hello to you guys. So some love and positivity because there's been some I've been hearing a lot of junk going on out there in these YouTube streets. And I just don't want my people to become corrupt. Y'all know I'm just kidding. But it's been a bunch of junk out there. I've been hearing it left and right. Oh, and I just can't leave black men out there by himself. I just can't do it. I can't let y'all get all corrupt. I need y'all with me. SB. So me and Mr. Boss just came tonight just to share a little bit. We're not going to be here in front of you very long. We appreciate all of you all for being here. This is not my regular night. Y'all already know. This is just something that we decided to do. I told y'all yesterday just because we miss you all. I enjoy talking with you all. I enjoy the panels. I just enjoy sharing positivity. And I just need y'all to know that I care so much about who you are, where we're going. And I would just like for us to be successful, as a community. I know you all say that we don't have one, but let's create one. And just to be a good representation for this YouTube space. We know we got a lot of negativity. We know we got some positivity. So let's just keep it on that side and hopefully everybody can join in. So I hope y'all understand what I'm saying. But I am so glad that y'all are here and we're going to have a good show tonight. I'm just going to talk to y'all a little bit. And I just want to hear what y'all have to say too. So somewhere along the way, we're going to drop the link and I just want to hear what you guys got to say. But before we get out on that, I'm going to tell y'all about my day because I had an outstanding day today. I actually went to a beauty pageant, guys, for some kids. And it was the cutest thing to see these young ladies, 5 to 16 years old. They had so much confidence. Their coach was not an acquaintance of mine, someone I recently met, and she invited me out, and I just appreciate it so much because the young girls had confidence. They could speak well. They valued themselves, and it was just so good to see this because that's what I want women to have. So often we miss that part. Don't know how we miss it, but we miss it. But something I did also see that put a smile on my face is there were a lot of men and women together, couples, mama and daddy were here at the pageant cheering their kids on. And I thought that was like, y'all, YouTube ain't got no idea what's going on out here in this real world. But anyway, it was nice to see it. I enjoyed it. The kids, y'all, they had their little they had their little glam wear on. They had their active wear on. It was just too cute. But I was just glad to be there and to be able to do something different. And I want to see where is it that we can reach the young girls or the young ladies and keep them from being broken young women. And I absolutely know now we got to go to 5 years old. From 5 to 16 is a very impressionable time. And these ladies were going to be winners. They were. Because they thought so much of themselves and they were confident about who they were and where they were going. It was just so good to see. So I learned a lot. So if I want to do this and be successful with it, I'm gonna have to go get me a coaching certificate or something, counseling certificate or something. I'm gonna have to go back down to these 5-year-old young ladies and say, listen, hands down to your side, back arched, voice, something, guys. I gotta give them something because this is what's required, and I'm willing to do that for young ladies because I definitely want us to win. So that was my day, and I hope all y'all had a fantastic day also. But before we get started, I'm gonna say hello to a few people, and I thank y'all so much for being here. I excel. How you doing? Thank you for being here. Daryl, what's going on with you, buddy? Atlanta Light, it is so good to see you. I am so glad that you're here. Hope all is well. Lady Navoa, How you doing? You say you miss me. We miss y'all. JG. Hey, how are you? Who we got here? Nurse Fancy's Mrs. Nurse Fancy. Hello, how are you? I'm glad you're doing well. I hope you're doing well, so I'm glad you're here. Dr. Steele, you know you always a joy. You always bring that extra amount of knowledge that I definitely need over here in this comment section. Chorus Climb. Chorus Climb. You're climbing today. Hey, Chorus, how are you? Thank you so much for being here. That's too funny. You will change your name in a minute. I mean, just however you feel. I appreciate that so much. But guys, listen, I thank you all for being here. Yesterday I was here and I shared with you a little bit about what I was thinking, who I am, and my point of view. And I know you all, Clement Gray, Mr. Gray, how are you? It's good to see you. I know you all probably already know because y'all have been with me. This group of people here have been with me for a minute. So y'all already know who SB is. But there were a few people that just don't know me, that just don't know who I am. And I got a lot of comments, some pushback, but nothing too bad. And it's okay. It's okay not to know or to give pushback. It's okay. But I'm going to say it again to make sure that everybody understands. When I came into these YouTube spaces, I came in with the idea that I'm going to advocate for women, advocate for men. And I actually love women. I love and want women to be successful. And that was all, it has always been what I want to do. The reason why I chose that route is because women in my history of trying, women don't listen. They don't want to hear it. Often they have to actually live their lives, and life itself has to actually correct them or show them what's next. I can tell you all day long what I did at 25 is the same thing as what you're doing at 25, and tell you kind of what's getting ready to happen next as a woman, and another woman will not hear me. It's very rare that women listen. I'm not saying all don't. There are some that listen. And then I moved on. I'm a married woman. So now I know all about marriage, my marriage, guys. I've been married 27 years. So I do know how to conduct and how to be a wife in a marriage, good and bad. You know, when it gets good, you can be a wife. And when it gets bad, how to be a wife throughout all of that. Even with all the adversity, even with men, even with people around me that hate men, I still know how to conduct myself as a wife. And I am willing to share those notes with whomever is willing willing to listen and willing to get that information. Y'all forgive me, I've been coughing. So that's what I bring to the YouTube space. That is my value. That's what I would like to see everyone have. That wants to be married, that wants to have a marriage that lasts forever, that want women who want that covering, women who want and understand their protection, women who actually want to be wives. That's what I bring. I'm here for you. You can pick my brain all day, every day. But one thing I will not do, and I just can't see me doing this, is because I have a good one. I can't hate men. I can't even have a strong dislike for them. Now, I can hold them accountable, and I can tell you exactly, ladies, what not to do or how you can value yourself in a way that those type of men, they can't even talk to you. I can do that. But for me not to advocate for a man to be the best man he can be, so he can be the best wife, so he could be the best husband to a wife, I can't do it. I got to. I can't just big up on the women, tell them how to be successful. They not listen. And then just leave the men out there. And then they continue to do the things that they do and continue to be in a cycle that is not beneficial for them because they continue to mess with women that are broken or getting themselves in situations that will leave them broken. Because not all the time or not often do men understand. Like I said, they don't have good examples either of how to be strong men or good men. It's just they don't sometimes. So if they do, then that's great. If they don't, then hey, I'm telling you, I got one here, and I'm advocating for men because I do believe that men are the leaders. Men are the heads. I think they're the ones who can pull us out of the situation, and I think those are the ones that we need to look to do so.
Dearly beloved,
It's kind of that simple for me. Now, understand, I have a belief system that has a foundation that also supports that. Not everybody does. And if you have another belief system, then you may not. That's on you. My belief system says my husband has a direct connection with the creator, and then I'm under him, and then we are over children. And that's just how it goes. So I look to my leader, my husband, my head of my household to be almost darn near everything, because that's what he's put there to be. And I just feel like that is what men should do. That's a man's role in a relationship, a marriage relationship. So that's who I am. So of course I'm gonna advocate for that, because if you got a strong leader, you got a strong union, and that's who I am. So if y'all can't understand that, I'm so sorry. It's not gonna change. But I'm here today. I'm here today though because we're talking about men and women. We need each other, right? We do need each other. So many times in these spaces, like Bolo said the other day, need and want. Need and want basically have the same definition. We need air to breathe, and you want to be able to have some fresh air. How about that, y'all? You need air to breathe, and you want that air to be fresh. Are we not saying the same thing? Some may say no because we're desiring, but guess what? In the beginning, God saw Adam. He was lonely. He said, "You're lonely. You need something," and He gave him a woman. Took right from the rib. He gave him a woman. So why is it that we want to remake or remix? Remix time. Let's remix it and do something different. I'm not into remixing. I'm willing to accept. I'm willing to accept what has been given to us and who I am as a woman. And I truly believe that I was made from the rib of a man. I now have a husband that I said I do to. So he is now my purpose. Him as my head of the household, my leader. Now we have a purpose for each other to become one. And that's what we've been doing for the last. And y'all hear him in the background. And I forgot to say hello to Mr. Boss. Hello, Mr. Boss.
Dearly beloved.
Got to say hello. But anyway, so y'all know he's here. Dearly beloved is Mr. Boss. That's his words, right? So what I'm saying to you is that we need each other. So often we pretend like we don't. I was talking to a young woman today that was very close to me. And we were just talking, and I was hearing about women having depression, and I was like, well, these are single women. And I'm thinking, I said, what's wrong? Why are we depressed? Not her. She was just talking about somebody, some other people. And I really think a lot of this depression comes in because we are so out of order, and we're doing everything alone, and we're trying to fill in all the gaps, all the spaces, and we're trying to make it right. And we could keep telling ourselves, I don't need a man. I don't need a man. No, you do. You do. You do need a man. You want a good man, which I totally understand, guys. There's nothing like a bad man or a bad woman. A bad woman could ruin a good man, and a bad man can traumatize, a good woman. This is true. I know it all so well. But we need each other. The man has a logical side to his brain that offers everything, but all things solution. Men, my husband, I'm gonna give him as an example because that's the man I know, right? We could be in the middle of a chaotic gunfight shootout, and he'll be like, go to your right, go to your left, and just cool about it and get everybody out and everybody's safe. That's the logic he brings. Me, I could be in that same shootout, I'd be like, oh my God, I can't believe you're doing it. He's shooting, baby. What do we do? And I'd be going chaotic. And he'd be like, oh, come on, because I'm the emotional one. And that's what I bring to the table. See, those two things actually work together. But what's been happening is that in the recent years, probably for the last 50, y'all know what I'm talking about, women have decided that if we go get this education and we learn a lot of things, and we obtain a lot of knowledge, that's going to give us the logic that we need to be successful and alone. Yeah, no, it doesn't. It doesn't. It gives you the knowledge, but logic is something that you just have to have. You can do the knowledge is right there. The knowledge of knowing something, excuse me, is there for you. And knowledge is power. Listen, it's been said a long time now. Knowledge is power. Knowing things is very powerful, but having the logic to know when to put those things in place, that's what the man brings to the table. He's the solution. And we add to him the balance of emotion, because logic without emotion is just dull and dry. All you got is solution. You have no communication. You have no skills to be able to reach this woman. And see, this is just me talking now. I don't know about this part. I can imagine that that's what God was seeing in Adam. Yeah, you good. You know how to tell people what to do. You done named all the animals. You've done all this good work, but you're missing something. There's something you're missing. You're not touching them. You're not moving them. So I'm going to give you something with emotion. And that was the woman. I want to see the love in you. That was the woman. So he put them together. And I can see it crystal clear, me and my husband. Now, that is what you look for in your mate. I see it crystal clear with him. Y'all, the most logical person in the world that I know. I mean, in the midst of total chaos, they know how to operate. Men operate in chaos. Me, move too many items on the table and see what you get from me. I can't even think. Too many things out of order. I'm like, I can't do it. I can't do it. So I bring that emotional part to him that he needs to have, because otherwise he couldn't touch me. We couldn't be together. He needs to be able to be vulnerable, to have emotions, to have empathy, to have all of that. He needs to have love. He needs to be able to feel. But with just logic, you don't feel. Everything is just the way it is. So that's what the woman brings to him. That's the thing that we never, ever talk about. We never talk about that love factor that's required in marriage for the man and the woman. See, when you bring that love factor into place, then that woman just submits. She just submits. She just gives it all to the man because he just put in place that emotion that he has for her. And then beloved. He just gave her the balance that she needs to be able to think, the logic. So that's one reason why we need each other. All right. Another reason why men, you all need us or want us, however you want to say it. I'm just gonna put it just real nice and plain. Men want a soft place to lay. They want us to take care of them. They want that soft touch. They want to be rubbed on. My husband wants his feet rubbed. He wants me to take off his boots. He don't want to have to take off his own boots. I mean, yeah, he'll do it, but that's not what he wants. That's not what he needs to have happen. He need a woman to take him off is what he need. Dearly beloved. That's what he needs, y'all. And I'm there to do that. When men want women to fill that void for them. They do. That's the way we were made. And women desire it also. Women want the companionship of a man. Now, y'all will say all day long, I don't need a man. And I get it. You don't want a man that is not good for you. You want a man that is good. I understand. I do. And I wish that for every woman. But not everybody is good. Not everybody is good. We got to figure out how we can put in place men and women that are good for each other, that want to be married. That's the part that we're missing. Because we don't have examples of it. And then everything about marriage is trying to be changed, or someone's trying to change everything about marriage. We don't want marriage to be changed. Marriage is the same. It's between a husband and a wife. And the example given is in Corinthians. Is it, y'all? It is. It's there. And that's what we want. That's what a man and a woman that wants to be in holy matrimony, that's what they want. They don't want the partnership. So if a woman is feeling like, well, I want partnership, it's because she hasn't seen an example of a good man. A good man takes care of you. He protects you. He provides for you. He lessens your load. And in turn, you submit, you respect, you give him that soft place to be. That's what we do for each other. And that's what it is. That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. So when we all here talking about, I don't need a man, or men and women don't need each other, that's not true. I just showed you the logical side of a man, the being able to think chaotic being able to think logical in the midst of chaos. They do that. They're built that way. One thing that we need to do, though, as ladies, is we need to learn more about our men. And again, I always go back to this, and I'm going back to it again. In the very beginning of my relationship with my husband, I read a book. I read several, but the one that sticks out the most to me was The Power of a Praying Wife. In that book, it outlines several different men and personalities. I suggest to all women to get this book that are married or that wants to be married. Oh, it's just a good read. It teaches you how to basically be sacrificial. You don't know it, y'all. You don't know it. I'm reading this book. I never knew what was happening, but what was happening is I was changing. And that's actually what happens in relationships. You're the person changing, but all the while you think that he's the one changing because you're seeing him different. Your eyes are being open to the kind of person or who he is. Your eyes are being open to the kind of the compassion or the empathy or whatever it is you need to have for him. My eyes were being open, but at the same time, I thought it was him that was changing, but it was actually me. I was learning him. So he began to make sense to me. All the things that I thought about didn't make any sense anymore. It all became real. It all became, you know what? And even to this day, it's still with me, because sometimes I could be mad as fire at this man, and for some reason it just changes. It's like, oh, why am I mad? You know, I just question myself right then in that moment, like, wow, why am I mad? I can't even stay mad. I still have that same empathy. I still have that same compassion. I still have that same love that I had for him way back then, to the point I can't even stay mad before a little bit of time, even though it be his fault. Y'all know it's always his fault. See, that's why he gave me the boom, because it's his fault. He knows. So it's important that we learn men, and it's important. I think that my husband needed to learn me also, but I needed to be the one to adjust and adapt to him. And that's what the book did for me. I needed to know what made him move left. I needed to know what made him move right. I need to know his responses. And that's what it's going to take for us. That's what it's going to take for us to build good relationships, if you're already in one. But even if you're not in a relationship right now, that a marriage relationship, and you're looking to be in one, understand one of the requirements going in is that you will need to adapt and adjust to the man that you're with. So the best thing to do is to learn who he is. That's the absolute best thing you can do as a woman, is to learn who your man is. Learn him, understand him. And once you do that and you sacrifice and you get to know who he is, I mean, life will be so easy. Black man, hey there, how you doing? I hope you had a good weekend. Mr. Bennett, hello. How are you both doing? I hope y'all having a good weekend. It's good to see you guys. I'm over here just going through talking, just spreading positivity. Let's see. Cora's had is it a question? Yes. When would you say you two really got into good flow of understanding? How long in the relationship? A good flow of understanding. Okay, so Cora, understand this. When you say a good flow of understanding, I would call that agreements. And then when I say that, I'm saying agreements because whether I liked it or not, I agreed with my husband that that was the best thing to do. And I hope that makes sense, because I'm going to tell you why it makes sense. I mean, why I'm saying it that way. When we decided first thing, it was about 2 years into the relationship, when we decided to put our money in one pot. That was very new to us. We were on one accord to do that. but that wasn't easy. It was like a breath of fresh air, and we knew we need to do it, but it was still a scary thing. We knew something needed to happen. We were on one accord doing it, but it wasn't easy. It was like, you know, let's see. And then it all became easy. So that was 2 years was baby steps. That was a baby step thing. But I must tell you, that was the first thing that took place that I would say was very that we both sacrificed. We put in like, it's like, okay, we're releasing. So up until about 2 years, we probably were still single people, single-minded individuals being married. Of course, you don't know this. You just know that you're operating in a marriage, you trying to do some things. Those things are not working. Then you go to someone else, which was a counselor. He was a pastor. He gave you this real simple thing to do, and it was like a bright light came on and was like, okay, now if you want this to work, you do it. So we did it. So even in that, I felt like we were flowing together, but we still had growing pains that we had to go through. Now, if you're asking when did it become like almost easy, I would say, oh man, easy. It probably took us about 10 years to become pretty easy. About 10 years to come pretty easy. Up until the first two was the money issues. Now we're getting to know each other. We're putting all in. And see, that's the part, that's the real big part right there. It's like, okay, I'm willing to sacrifice, but are you? And we were both willing to sacrifice. That was the interesting, and that was the thing. And that's the most important thing going in is, are we both going to be willing to sacrifice? And we both were. We both were. You know, he had already been married before, but he knew that he couldn't do the same things he did in his first marriage and expect his second marriage to work. I, of course, was not married before, but I wanted to be married, and I wanted to be a good wife. I wanted to be successful at this. But I was also somewhat independent because I had lived on my own for many years at this point. And I just knew how to handle mine. You know, I happened to be the conservative chick with the good credit, the car, and all that extra stuff, and was paying for it on my own. You know, and two, I had parents that were there that helped me if I want mama and daddy. So I was kind of like self-reliant. So, but I knew I needed to have a husband, but I was willing. So again, I think when it got the most, I think one night my husband and I had a conversation. I know we had a conversation, and he came to me and he said, you know what, babe? It's just me and you. We're in this together. It's just me and you. Nothing else matters. No matter what, it's just me and you. And if you never bring in a third party into this relationship, I promise you, I will never bring a third party into this relationship. And anything that comes into this relationship outside of that, we got it. We'll do it. I'm here with you. And I think that might have took an edge off a little bit because I believed him. I believed him. He convinced me. And I would say the ball started rolling. So we've always kind of flowed together. But it hasn't always been easy. Always kind of flowed together. So I want, you know what? I'm glad you said that because I want people to know you need to flow with your mate. It doesn't mean that things are going to be easy though, but you need to flow with them. In other words, women, we got to adapt. We got to adapt. We got to adjust because he didn't know everything. He had been married before, but he didn't know everything. And I would say I probably knew nothing. I mean, I knew my role as a woman. I knew my role as a wife, but did I really? I knew I was cooking. I was cleaning. I knew I needed to be there for him. I knew I needed to have his back. Yes, I did. But I tell y'all often, the affectionate part, I didn't have it. I didn't have it. I didn't come from that. I didn't come from that. My husband did, but I didn't. So it was some things we had to grow and learn together. With communication, we did that. And again, we flowed. And in about every 5 years, this is funny, but every 5 years we would accomplish something and we was like, oh, I feel a little more grown now. We used to say this all the time. Oh, I feel a little bit more mature now. Like we're growing as we get older. We're and as we're accomplishing things, and as we get a new business or we get in a new car, we got a new house or something, we would always be like, "Oh, I feel a little bit more mature now. I feel like more grown now." So eventually we just we kind of came, one, and I think it started with that conversation. You know, it's just me and you. I remember too. This is funny, but what brought on that conversation is we used when we would always help people, but whenever it came time for us to move, whenever it came time for us to move, nobody ever helped us. We were always alone moving, and my husband was like, "Look, we're not doing this anymore. We're not doing this. We're going to pay somebody or something." So that's where all that, baby, we're in this together. It's just me and you. We felt that way for such a long time in our relationship. It's like the whole world was no, there was no one else. It was just him and I. And when you have that kind of support, I guess, for each other, you got to make it work. We if it doesn't work, then what? Where we going? You going home with your mom? No. You going home with your mom? No. We gotta make it work. And we just poured that much into each other. And I think that was how it worked. So again, chorus, about 2 years in, I think we got beyond being single people, definitely single minded. And we started to flow. But in that flow, we did come along. We did have several obstacles along the way, but it was him and I together. We had that conversation. It was like, it's got to be this way. And this is the only way it can be. So I suggest that to everyone. Have the conversations and make sure that this person that you're giving your life to, because I was giving my whole life. I was submitting to my husband my whole life. I was giving it over to him. And I needed to know that he could protect me. He had my back, provision, and everything. So listen, I gotta tell y'all this. Now, throughout this, y'all know our foundation is the Bible. Y'all do know that we go, the creator, God, Jesus, that's who we focus our attention on. Y'all know that. So of course, we're gonna always refer back to what we feel like works. But I gotta give y'all this scenario. And I often do, I've done this before. We used to do marriage classes. And we used to teach sometime, and others used to teach too. But one of the questions that came out in marriage class is this: SB, no one wants to make it work anymore. Hey, we got to make them want to make it work. Because what's Clement, let me tell you something. What I hear and see that's on the exterior of relationship, on the exterior of marriage relationships, it's not good. People are depressed. People are angry. People are taking their lives. People are doing serial killers. There is so much hate in the world that it's ridiculous. I'm looking for grace. I'm looking for love. I'm looking to say, what is wrong? I'm saying to myself, what is wrong with you people? How can y'all live with all this hate? How can we do this? How could I hate another woman? How can I hate another black woman that's done nothing to me? How can I not show her nothing but respect and kindness until she does something? But why wouldn't I have that for another individual? You know, I don't understand that. So again, we have to continue to be those examples for those people to be like, look, my life is good. I am not missing anything. I'm missing nothing being a single woman out there in this world with several degrees, a doctorate, a six-figure paying job. I'm missing nothing. I'm not missing that. I did all of those things within my marriage, still being a wife to my husband. The only thing is I served my purpose as a wife first. And then he came with the plans. But I want to tell y'all this. I want to tell y'all this story, this little thing that we used to say in marriage class. And it's for women to think about, because it's a building situation in marriage relationships. And we used to say things like this. This is one of the things they used to ask the women, because we're creating better men or better husbands, and the same for wives. We won't make sure the women are always being submissive and always in their proper role, because you don't want a woman to be more independent, taking over, telling her husband what to do and all those things. So the question is if money is not an issue, and you got the money and the light bill is due and your husband pays the bills. He's managing the bills. He's been doing it for some time now. But for whatever reason, he got busy. He forgot to pay the light bill. Excuse me. Or he just didn't pay the light bill. I don't know. Whatever you want to put in place, that's what happened, right? The lights are getting ready to get turned off. You saw the notice for the lights getting turned off that morning. And you said, babe, look, we got a disconnect notice for the lights. Make sure you take care of that. But you knew that he was busy and probably wouldn't have time to take care of it, even though he didn't ask you to do it. He just said, okay, and ran out. The question is for the ladies, and then it's for the men. But the question is, ladies, would you take care of that bill? Would you go pay that bill? That's the question. Now, me, because see, this is where we talked about. This is where we talked about the balance. We talked about the logic and the emotion, right? You got a disconnect notice. That means today by 5, if the light bill is not being paid, then the lights will get turned off. An emotional woman would be like, oh my God, what is wrong with him? I'm not paying it. I'm going to let the lights get turned off because he should have known better. That's what an emotional woman would do because, this man ain't being the head. He's not being a good head. He's letting things go. He's lacking. But a logical woman would say, I'm going down here to pay these bills because we're not getting ready to be in the dark. We're not doing it. We're not. And of course, I was the woman that had some logic because I'm going to pay the bills because there ain't no love in the dark, y'all, especially when money is not an option. I am going to pay the bill. That's me. The other women were going off on the husband because he dropped the ball. He this, he that, he this, he that. And I'm saying, are y'all ridiculous right now? This is ridiculous. And the husbands, we was like, well, what do you think? Would you care if your woman went and paid the bill or what have you? They was like, no, I expect her to pay the bill. She my helpmate. She's supposed to have my back. I'm busy. So we just missed each other right there because the women were being, that's why we're giving each other that balance. So them adapting to their husbands, they're supposed to know that he's going to not pay it because he's busy and I should pay the bill. But the women were so emotional and mad by the fact that he's the head and he's not acting like the head and he's missing something that I'm just going to sit up here in the light, in the dark. And when he come home, these lights going to be turned, I'm going to let him have it. Oh no, but not SB. SB paying the bill, y'all. I'm paying the bill. I'm not in the dark. I'm not. Now, we go through these things and you get to a point where the man, the husband, the head, he says humbly, babe, I'm too darn busy. I'm too darn busy. I am too busy. Why don't you take care of the bills? You can handle it much better than me. So, that's what happens. That's the balance that comes within a relationship. That is the balance. So listen, Lucky Marie, you had a question, I think. What did you say here? I would have to just pay. Yes, Lucky, you better pay it. Why? See, that's the logic in you. You're a woman that has some logic, but most women answered the question. They said that they would sit up there and allow the lights to be turned off. Miss Fancy, what'd you say? I wouldn't say anything and just pay it. Me too. When he does remember and pay, we would just have a credit. Absolutely. Actually, what happened, he didn't pay. This was just a funny example, but the man didn't pay. He actually came home, the lights was on, and they had a conversation about it. This is in my house. But in some houses, it would be an argument because he would be the one that is responsible for paying the bills. He did not. He comes home, the power's out, and now he's fussing at her because she allowed the power to be turned off. Because remember, money wasn't an issue. Miss Jennifer, how you doing? I would pay it because he wouldn't be upset if they could. Yes, if they can't turn the lights back on right away. Very much so. And how about the inconvenience of it all? Who wants to sit in the dark? I think people should pride out of it and just respect each other for being human. You're exactly right. But so often, and I understood what you were saying, so often women, we have such ego and pride because guess what? We look for our men to be perfect. We look for our men to be perfect, and they're not. They're not. And when we can accept the fact that they're not perfect, then we will become better wives. We will slide in at the 8th hour and pay the bill and be like, hey, babe, you forgot, but I got you. Because money wasn't an option. And your husband would be like, okay, I can rely on her to do this. This is good. But a lot of times we miss that because we're not sacrificing completely. We still want to be like, oh, he the man, but he in control of everything, but he's controlling. Or sometimes I even see that they look for him to do something wrong. Now, this is us, me and Mr. Boss in marriage counseling. I'm not counseling, in marriage class. This is us being there. This is us hearing these stories of how the man may fall short and the woman allows him to fall short. I don't allow Mr. Boss to fall short, guys. Because guess what? Mr. Boss falling short, that's me falling short. And I'm not interested. I'm not interested in falling short.
Dearly beloved.
No day, any day. I'm not interested. So I tell him all the time, no, babe, I can't. Listen, I did tell him before. I have told him this. I have said to him, listen, I wish some of the things you do had nothing to do with me because I would just let you do all kinds of crazy stuff. But the fact of the matter is, everything he does is connected to me. Women want everything while doing nothing. Let me just say this. Lucky Marie, you may be right about that in some cases, but these were married women who wanted to be married and wanted to be good wives, but they just wanted to be right. If I can say that. And if you're saying that, then I'm totally agreeing with you. They just wanted to be right. They wanted to be right. And for me, I want to be comfortable. So being right sometimes is not the answer. I want to be comfortable. So I'll get my husband on the other end, babe, look, I took care of it. It's good. To the point, he'll humbly say, you know what? I'm too busy to be doing bills. Why don't you take them? And that's probably what it should have been initially in the beginning. But as a man and head of the household, he has to come to those conclusions that he needs to, give the bills or have his wife pay the bills or whatever. But again, it's mostly coming from, and I guess we can definitely say those are egos, because the woman probably knows that she's better at paying bills than him. But instead of having a conversation, she wants him to fail, and she allows him to fail. I am not allowing Mr. Boss to fail, because that's just me failing. I can't do it. If all possible, I'm not. I'm like, no, babe, I got you. I got it. What we got to do? I'll do it. Just because he is a direct reflection of me, or vice versa. I'm a direct reflection of him. And he knows that. He knows that it's very important to him how I carry myself, how I interact with people, the way that I'm dressed, all of those things. Like Lucky Marie says, yeah, what do you think this obsession with being right is? I've learned that right gets you right back, right by yourself. Lucky, I don't know what the obsession for being right is. I don't know. I guess it could maybe stem with the fact of our elders saying that they hate men, they don't need men, and I don't want to be controlled by a man and those type things. Women just not submitting. If you don't submit to it, if you don't submit to the man being your head, then you would always want to be right. Now, I used to struggle. I'm going to tell you something. I have struggled with that before, not always being right per se. Well, yeah, you can call it that, because like I would see a car. I'm just giving you an example. I would see a car and the car would be blue. Mr. Boss would tell me the car is green. And I'd be like, okay. But instead of Mr. Boss accepting my okay, because my okay was just, I'm going to let you have it, and not, okay, I believe you. So he would have to turn the car around, go chase that car just to find out the car was blue. He over here shaking his head because he know. So there was always, so for so many years, he would say, okay, last time you were right, but this time I know you're wrong. So he would chase the car down again. And I'm just using the car as an example. That's not, he would do whatever again to prove to me that he was right, because he couldn't take me just giving it to him. If I would just say, yeah, he would, hey, so yeah, if I would just say, yeah, you're right, he would be like, nah, he wants me to believe that he's right. And I would be like, okay, you can have it. And he just didn't like that. So he had to prove to me that he was right. And so often that he would go back to prove to me he was right, and then he was wrong. So it kind of got funny. Then it got to the point where we left it alone. But then he still would say, you just can't be all right all the time. But it wasn't me. It was more so him. Hey, Kosher, how are you? Thank you. He says, hello, sister. Been a minute. Blessings to you and Chief. Yes, he's here. And thank you so much for your $5 super chat. But that's exactly how it would be, guys. So I do see that, there is a need sometimes for women or men. Well, in my case, I didn't have a need to be right. I just happened to be the one that paid more attention. But my husband always wanted to be that one that paid more attention. And he would always try to prove to me that he was right. And sometimes it just didn't work out. So there is a need to be right all the time. But, it's a way to handle that. You can still love on each other and disagree, and it'd be okay. It could become a joke. It doesn't have to be demeaning. It doesn't have to be ego driven. It could be funny. And after a while, it does become funny. But Lucky Marie, you are exactly right. There is in marriage a lot of time a need, and it just goes back to the submission of women. We are not always taught that it's safe to be able to submit to our husbands because of the examples that were before us. So we oftentimes, some of us don't want to submit to what your husband is saying because you don't trust the fact that he has your back. I was fortunate. My husband was a person that loved Christ. He came in with a plan. And it was just me and him. We said that he had the plan, and I knew what I wanted, and it worked out for me. And that's what I'm hoping for all women. That's what I'm hoping for all women. But the submission part comes quite easy when you know that this person, you can trust him, that you respect him, and that he has your back. And then you're going to build together. You're going to build together, and all those other things will be worked out. I promise you they'll be worked out. There's going to be a lot of things that you go through. I am going to convince you guys, all of you that want to be married, I'm going to convince you all that you need to be married. I am. Now, if you are willing, Dusto, how you doing? If you are a willing participant, I'm going to share with you, ladies, it is very important that you have this covering. I mentioned to you all last night about a story, and I said that Black Men and I are going to cover it in detail more on Monday, about this serial killer. Yeah, it hurts me to hear that there is a person out there, a Caucasian man, finding, and I'm assuming some kind of way preying on Black women, and then killing them, deleting these women. 3-4 of them deleted. One got away. She was able to tell the story thus far. Nobody knows, and none of this stuff has been confirmed the last time I checked on the story, but I will do that again. But what I'm saying to you guys is, how do 4 women go missing, and then there's no one there looking for them? And then you say that you don't need to be covered, or you don't need to be protected, and you don't need a relationship. You don't need a man in your life. What? How could you not? How could you not need covering? Listen, I often say this, and I'm still saying it. So, Lucky Marie, I don't know where your husband is. I've been hearing some stories. I hope he's nearby. I hope so. But dear, align yourself with a good man and marry him. You need to be protected. We're living in a time that is so crazy that men are luring women This white man, I don't know what he did, guys, but they felt comfortable enough. I'm assuming if he snatched these women off the street, that would be much worse. I would think that somebody would have seen this happen. But the point is, it happened. And these women went missing. And I don't even know if there was a story or report or anything out there that said, Aka, how are you? It's good to see you. I hadn't seen you in so long. It's good to see you. I hope you and Bob are doing well. Hey. So listen, I'm just saying to you, ladies, being there is nothing that I'm missing being married. I know often truth and purpose nexus. Tap in. Salute to chat and to you and Mr. Boss. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here too. Mr. Boss has been listening to you per se, on other platforms, and he said you're a very what was the word that he used? I forgot the word he was using. Sensible guy. You're a very sensible person. So just wanted to let you know that he heard you speak on a couple other platforms. So he thinks you're a very sensible guy. Nurse Fancy says, if you find a good one, marry him. Emphasis on a good one. Definitely. But in finding a good one, you have to be in a line with you have to be in a good alignment to deserve a good one, right? I'm always telling a woman to preserve herself. Stop with the reckless, random sex. If a man doesn't have intentions for you, you cannot continue to give yourself to them. You cannot. Harris Tribe Media Group. Peace, family. Salute to Security Boss and chat. Hello, how are you? You can't do that, ladies. You have to understand that you have value. Your body, your mind, your spirit. I said it last night. Your box, your Optimus Prime is the most valuable thing that you actually have. You cannot give that away to just any random man that tells you, I like you. If he likes you, slow down. Give him an opportunity to show you that he has the same intentions that you have or want for your life. If he wants to marry you, then allow him to y'all get to know each other, date. We can't continue to do these things, women, and then suffer the trauma and then start hating the men because they just wanted to bust down when they only wanted to bust down coming to the door, but you didn't take time to figure out that that's all he wanted from you. We can't do it. We have to preserve ourselves. And I know, I'm liberated. I can do this. You can do this. Yeah, that's a joke. Your brain is being mangled as we speak if you continue to have all these different sexual partners. You're not winning. You're not winning. You'll figure it out. It's going to come to you. When you start acting irrational, which you're probably already doing, you're doing crazy things. I see women doing them all the time. Just last week, me and was it last week? Yeah. Last week, me and Black Man did a story where a woman jumps in the car, runs a man over and deletes him. Runs him over and deletes him. Why? Because her boyfriend had another number of another female in his phone. She deleted a man that was innocent because her boyfriend had some other girl's number in his phone. You see what I mean by this? Yeah, this is not beneficial. Women, we are not winning. Thanos, hello, how you doing? Thank you so much for your $19.99 super chat. He says, love and blessings to the boss family. You get the money line, Thanos. I'ma run it every time. Give me mine. Going up, need no decline. Money line. I'ma run it every time. Give me mine. Going up, need no decline. Yeah, yeah. I gotta tell you guys something, and you know what? We're gonna drop the link in a little bit. Maybe y'all can tell me the opposite. Those of you all who are against marriage, like I said last night, marriage has not changed. It's still between a man and a woman. You still base your foundation on your Creator and what it is that He has brought you here to do. All right, and that's whatever your belief system is. You know, you need to understand your purpose. You do. But the point I was trying to make is, I know, wisdom comes with age for some, and some never get it. But I need to know from you all. I'm talking about my husband and I being married, and we've been married 27 years. And I feel like I feel like I've been married over half my life, y'all. I got married at 25 years old. And I love being married. I was fortunate enough to have a good husband, not a perfect husband. I'm not a perfect woman. But we agreed that whatever it was, we were going to work it out within our marriage. And that's what we've done. And we've had peace within that. Had money, lost money, had money, lost money, have investments, haven't lost investments, or whatever. You know what I'm trying to say, y'all. Ups and downs. We're here. I would want to not, I wouldn't dare want to do that alone. I would want to be with my husband, doing that. So I need to hear from single people. What is so special about being single and out there by yourself? I hear women all the time talking about, well, marriages don't all work. No, they don't. But if a man cares enough about you to ask you to marry him, he'll probably do right by you and the kids if that marriage relationship doesn't work, because he cared enough. He had some sort of principles or morals about himself to say, hey, this woman deserves to be married. This is what he's saying. This woman deserves to be married. Things don't always work out for whatever reason. Not everybody has the tools for longevity. I get it. But he cared enough to ask. That's to me, that's very important. That's very, very important, ladies. And that's what you're looking for if that's what you want far as companionship. Now, then you have the alternative where you say, I slept with this man. I got pregnant with his baby, because guess what I heard last night? I think it was last night. Yeah, nobody used condoms anymore. Nobody is using condoms anymore. So that means we are just taking a chance. We're taking a chance. We're having random, reckless sex. And women having babies is just a thing that we do. Wow. Wow. So if that's the case, now women, you have to raise these children by yourself, because that man never intended to have any intentions with you but to have sex. And now you hate him. And now he's going to be suffering because he's going to be in this system that cares nothing about him. He may or may not take care of the child. Probably not, because he didn't want that child. That's not what his intentions were. So what's good about that type of life? Are you really telling me the incentives that the government gives you is what's good? Section 8, food stamps, WIC, that's good. That's good. And Fancy says, and that's hard. But I'm so angry with him that I can't even see myself being in error, that I can't even get myself together to find another one. Scam likely says the white man's fault. Which part is the white man's fault? That we didn't buy the condoms? That we like to have random reckless sex? Which part? Just tell me which part. You can stop me at any given time. I'll agree with you. But I just wanted to know, because I've done a video several times on marriage. I am going to always push marriage. So if y'all don't want to hear marriage, there's no need of y'all talking to me, because I am going to convince all of you all that you need to be married. There is safety in marriage.
Dearly beloved.
It is safety in marriage, and nothing is guaranteed. Nothing is guaranteed. I wish and pray for the best man and woman in a relationship. But how do we achieve that? If a woman is willing, men, I say teach. If a man is willing to be married, I say men, that's a good man. Throw the ovaries away. Okay. We're going to throw the ovaries away. Yeah, they ain't going to be no good after a while. I mean, really, random sex, no condoms. These young people have said, they've spoken, and they've said they don't use condoms. Yeah, this is the craziest thing I've ever heard. Now, I know I'm older than probably most of you all. And those women, Dr. Steele says, and those women do not understand that the government handouts are minimal. You will be barely living with those handouts. Listen, I saw a TikTok video the other day, and the woman said, "You got one baby?" What? She had 5 behind her. She did the video as though you're a joke because you got one. You need to have 5. Y'all, what are we doing? That's the craziest thing I ever seen in my life. Now, y'all got to convince me that that's good living. Being single is good living when I know that it's not. Now, I can't bring y'all all the way into my home, but I can share with you all good times that me and Mr. Boss have had. Now, my world is small. I don't let a lot of things in. I don't get influenced by a lot of things that go on. Meaning, I'm not the one that's dialed into social media like that. Only reason why I'm here is because of you all. It's because of this live stream. It's because of what I'm trying to put out there as far as what's safe for a woman and a man in marriage. This is why I'm here. But just in my regular life, TikToking and Facebooking and all that, no, you will never find a Facebook page for me that's not associated to business. I'm saying that wasn't me. I am scared of these influences. I don't want to think negatively about my husband. Right now, when I'm going through TikTok trying to find some news article or something, breaking news to share with you all, I'm being so cautious because I'm hearing these women with these terrible stories of how the man cheated, how the man left them, how the man did all these things. And it's just like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. I'm like, please, mind, do not suck this in. Let it go, let it go. I'm just telling, I'm swiping because I don't want that negative influence because I know these stories are real. But guess what? She telling the story. I'm not hearing anything from the next man. I'm not hearing anything from the husband. I'm just listening to her. And I'm not saying she's lying. I'm just saying a story usually has two parts. Because let them tell it. They did nothing. They ain't done nothing wrong. They ain't done nothing wrong. But I heard today we got some out there now that don't even like to take baths. But they did nothing wrong. So I'm just saying to you guys, someone needs to help me out. Oh, let's see what Typing says. She said, unsolicited security boss, you are different. The rest of these females will die without social media. Listen, that's a good question to ask, Tapping. You need to ask the question. Would you rather die with social media or die alone? How about that? Because ain't nothing wrong with your good man regulating your social media. I'm not saying that you can't look at pictures and all these things, but I am telling you, influence, negative influence is very powerful. Very, very powerful. I said this earlier in this stream. I went out today and I was very happy that I saw a lot of couples, men and women together, and they were there at the pageant for their kids. So it made me feel good to know that YouTube has its place, but there is still a world out there where people are getting married, in relationships, and loving each other. Because if you just stay right here in this space, this will bring you down. This will bring you down. I often try to visit other places, but y'all listen. I'm a woman. I don't take kindly to men calling women bees all the time. You know, and men calling men ends all the time. I don't. That's hard for me to hear because it just shouldn't be that way. So I'm just telling you, this space is difficult. So for me to go somewhere and me see couples and to see them with their children, it was just good. It was good to see. And I don't know, were they married or what have you? It didn't really matter because dad was there. Whether they were married or not at that time, I didn't need to know. I mean, I wish they are. I wish they were. But I'm just glad that mom and dad were there and they were promoting positivity and confidence in their daughter. The dad was there supporting that daughter. And it was like, this is awesome. So I'm just telling you guys, that's a good question to ask your woman, far as your social media spaces go, because this negativity that's on here, it can get into it's a big influence. It can have you tripping. And I'm the one that I ain't interested in tripping. I want to love my husband. I want to love on my husband. I want us to be good every single day, if possible. And I want to work towards that. And I know I can't do that. Listen to some woman tell me how this man left her and went with the next woman down the street, and the next woman down the street smiling and happy. That doesn't make sense, right? There's something I'm missing. So I prefer not to hear it. So I'm going to take a break. Tamika, how are you? I try to tell people to go live, go live their lives. YouTube will keep you in a black hole. Oh God, Tamika, a sinking ship. It will. It will. And it'll keep women against men. And that's ridiculous because we love each other and we need to be together. We need each other. So Dusto, how you doing, brother?
What's good? How you doing?
What's good with you?
All is well. Well, I hear echo. Is that me?
I'm sorry, say it again.
I hear echo. Is that me?
It must be you because I don't hear it.
Oh, no, I don't hear it no more. I'm good.
Can you turn your mic up a little bit?
Sure. Um,
You don't have to take me to the mountaintop, but anything in between what you're doing now and the mountain would be good.
yeah, this ain't StreamYard. I got to figure out how to do it. Let's see.
I can hear you. Go ahead. What's going on with you? What you think
Microphone.
about what I'm saying? I know you want to be married, correct?
That would be nice. Yeah. Think it'll happen. I'll be all right. But I'll survive without marriage. I can live without it. I'm not going to choose unwisely because I'm not going to force a marriage. That's not smart. You end up divorced and end up back single and bitter anyway. But no, I think I'll be all right. But
Hey TJ, I see you. I see everybody else saying hello. How are you? Good to see you. But you say you're gonna be all right. It sounds like you giving up, Dusto. Why
no,
did you give up?
no, if I'd given up, I'd tell you I'd given up. But
Well, what do you mean then? You'll be all right.
if I don't get married and say,
Right.
hey, I became a good person, lived a good life. It's just that's the thing that I didn't get was marriage.
Wow.
Still had a good life, but marriage didn't work out. Just like there's some great NBA and NFL players that didn't win a championship. They might be Hall of Fame, they might be all pro, all whatever, but everybody doesn't get a championship ring. So it could be a possibility that I end up not married.
We
Or
can't
choose.
allow that to happen because you're a good man. It makes no sense for a good man to go to waste.
Yeah, I think it'll happen. I think I'll be all right.
That sounds like ooh.
Yeah, no,
Make
I think I'll be good.
sure I get an invitation, right? Can you do that?
Absolutely.
So listen though, what do you think? Do you honestly think that men and women need each other?
I think women need men. Okay, I'll put it this way: most women need men. Uh, I think most women need men almost to the level of survival. It's getting close to almost survival.
Hmm.
Give it a few years, it'll be that strong.
I can agree to that.
Men would be better off if they had women, but I can't say they need women. You can survive. Men are built for survival. That's what they do. They're more adaptable. They are stronger. They can survive without women. To succeed, you can only get to a certain level without a woman. You're better off with a woman, and men know that. Well, most men, marriage-minded or qualified men, they know that they'll be better off with the woman.
So let me ask you a question, Dusto.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know this. This is just me throwing something out
Okay.
because we've never had to experience it per se. But don't you think a man without a woman would change that man? Don't you think eventually a man, in other words, if we had an island and it was all men, don't you think those men would eventually change? I'm not saying they're going to become women, but don't you think that the masculine energy would somehow dissolve? It would be some changing. Do you think they would morph into other things? Some things would change.
I wouldn't stick around on that island to figure it out, but
Where you going? You
I
going
want to be.
you
Yeah,
going to delete yourself? What you saying?
I don't think that ain't my lane, but I don't think men want women. There's no kind of almost. Well, if this happens, I'll try out a man. No, men
What?
either want men or they want women.
No, no, no. I'm not saying trying out nothing. I'm just telling you, I was sharing with you the need for a woman. Because if our creator said you need this, I'm just trying to figure out how we so bold to say no, we don't. That's all I'm trying to figure out. I'm just trying to
Well,
figure out how because see, we've never been there. He was there and he saw Adam without one. And he didn't like the way it looked for whatever reason. I think some of the words he said look a little lonely. You
Mm-hmm.
know, just keeping it light. I wasn't there. And he said, I'm gonna give you this. I'm just trying to figure out who are we? Who are we to say, no, I don't really need that. So I'm just in my mind, I'm saying, you know what? We can play these games, but let's take all the women away and just eventually, I wonder what would happen. It's just a thought. I don't know. I have no clue. I'm just saying I don't think it's something that we actually think about. I think we get really bold, we get really prideful, and we just try to take it out of context for whatever reason. But guess what?
Well,
I love you guys. I love me, and you don't have to do that with me.
well,
You
well,
know, because I don't. No, no, no. Let me get done. I don't know
okay.
what it looks like. I just think it's a scary thought.
Hear
I
me,
don't,
beloved?
I don't know. I don't live in the what ifs. Or what if they took the women? Or what if I don't know. But as far as I mean, you can't force it because the only other option for men who are seeking wives that aren't finding them is to try to force a woman in something that she's not, or go settle and take something that you never wanted. And when you do all that, you're gonna make the situation, you make it worse.
Well,
And then
I'm
you're
the
gonna end up
listen.
single anyway. Now you're divorcee with your money messed up and some trauma.
No, I'm agreeing with you. I'm not dealing in a what if per se. I'm just saying it's real easy to see that women need men. We need y'all. I'm
Hmm.
clear, easy to say that. I wouldn't have it any other way. But I'm just saying I don't coming from the other side because I feel like we need each other in EED. So it's just one of those things. I don't want to see it. I have no desire to see that. I have no desire to see a time where we're not together. I have no desire for that. So I'm just, I get what you're saying. It's
Yeah,
scary to me.
I'm just saying, men can survive still without women, and they can be all right. Are they missing something? Yes, but will they be okay? Yes.
But
But
you
now, if
say
you take away
that,
all the women, I mean, yeah, it's a problem.
but you
But
saying that coming from a place where you really don't know that though.
I don't have a woman. I'm good. I'll be better with one, but I'm not jumping off a cliff tomorrow. I'm not, miserable, hiding
Oh,
in the
you
closet.
talking about a woman for your own personal. No, no, I'm talking
We talking about
about
women as a whole.
yeah, 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 yeah. Not just yeah. I'm just yeah. No, I wasn't talking about for your own person. Yeah, you have monks out there and all of that, but there's still a women. There's still a feminine presence that that reigns amongst us. It is still there. I'm saying gone. That's what I was talking about. But I get what you're saying. But let me go over here to Dr. Steele and see what he's saying. Dr. Steele, what you have to add to this? What you think about my question?
I do agree that men and women do need each other. You know, as I'm listening, I think of my parents, both of them still living, both of them in their 70s, and how they have supported each other through the years. But now they've gotten older, and when you get older, you're not going to have the energy that you used to have. You're not going to do things that you used to do, but you the support is still there. In fact, they need it even more so than ever. Uh, you know, because again, they still have each other. Me, of course, and I don't mean to tell a sob story, but I do not have that luxury for some reason. When you're single, I mean, you wake up in the morning, hoping that your alarm clock works. You you get up, you make your own breakfast, you make your bed or what have you. You go to work, and then you come home. You know, you know, at my age, at 52, I get tired, get so tired I can't cook. I end up having to go out, to get something to eat, and then, go to bed, and pretty soon, I'm gonna be my parents' age. I'm not going, there gonna be days that I have to go to the hospital, for some life-threatening, whatever you call it, and I either have to drive by myself. There are times where I have to drive myself to the hospital because of a high blood situation. Nobody's driving me there. But I got lucky that I made it. Um, I had to break up a fight at school, sprain my knee, sprain my knee in the process. But luckily, one of my coworkers took me to the hospital, and I had to get a procedure. I don't want to disclose it. Done, and my 70-year-old parents had to come to me, to drive me there. But I told them, hey, I could just take a cab, right? But no, they willing to drive me there. I was lucky. Suppose I have not gotten those things. I mean, I would have been up the creek, really. So that's why I do agree that men and women need each other.
You know what, Dr. Steele, both of you, two good men. I'm still, for me, it's not too late. I want you all, and I hope you all find women that can feel though that Dr. Steele, especially you, feel that space for you. And Dusto, of course, I want you to find a woman that for yourself. That is my prayer because I feel like there's so much protection and covering. And you just named some things, Dr. Steele, protection and covering in marriage that is required. And that would be coming from a wife versus coming from a man, but it's still something that is real. I do those things for my husband. It was not too long ago where we had an incident. And you know what? It's just amazing because I was able to cover my husband and I was able to, he was like, I only heard your voice. He got sick and I was driving and I had to make it to, this was the first time my husband ever told me I need to go to the hospital. He's never, any other time he's not feeling well. I was like, baby, you need to go to the hospital. No, I'll be fine. But this time he was actually scared and I knew it. But for some reason, something came over me and I was cool as a cucumber. And I was driving this car and I drove faster and I drove faster and I rubbed his back and everything and just, prayed over him the whole time until I got to that emergency room. And it was good. It worked out perfectly. But I understand what you're saying. If he would have been by himself, what if? And I'm like Dusto with that. I don't want to deal in the what if. I don't. I don't. So I am there with you. But let's go to Miss Tamika. Miss Tamika, how are you doing?
I am awesome. How are you guys?
Doing good. Hadn't seen you in a while.
I know. I'm sorry. I've been trying to make my rounds around the space, but it gets kind of crazy during the
Don't be
week.
sorry. I mean, I'm glad you're here now. I see your name, but I just haven't seen you.
I know. I know. I got to come up more often for sure. For sure. First, I want to say just congratulations to all your hard work. I see your channel growing. You know what I'm saying? And so I know that's super awesome and it feels great. I do want to answer the question: men and women need each other.
Yes.
Um, I think that for the most part, men don't need women. I think women need men. But I think for the example that Eugene gave, I think in the latter years of a man's life, he's definitely going to need a helpmeet. You're going to need one. I'm sorry. I know you like to be big and macho between your earlier years, climbing up into your career and stuff like that. But when you start to get older and you start to look around, mama ain't gonna be there to help you no more. Your cousins, your sisters, your homeboys definitely ain't about to come pick you up and make you no soup or nothing when you get sick and stuff. But men don't realize that they really need a woman until their health or something is kind of threatened, right? And that's when they start to realize, dang, I kind of actually might need somebody to come wipe my butt when I get old, or my hip aching, and I might need somebody to come rub me down at night, not just in a sexual manner, but just to, get
Take
that.
care of you. Yeah.
Yes, you need the care of a woman. She is more valuable than just what YouTube will tell you that she's not valuable for, right? And so I agree
I
with you.
actually love what you just said about YouTube because it is so true. It will take you down a dark path. If you don't spend enough time on the outside of this space, you will get the negative influence will do just that. It'll
That is
have you hating women. It'll have you calling people N words, calling women bees, just all darn near angry if you don't be careful.
I
I
agree.
see it. I see it so often, and I'm thinking, wow. I see people. I see some people actually changing right in front of my eyes. And I don't think they realize it. So that was an absolute good analogy of what you said um, about this YouTube space. Over here at SB Nation, I'm trying to keep it positive. I don't want that to happen. I want to be a good balance because I want people to see, I want everyone to be able to see themselves actively. You know, I want to be able to see, you want to be your, I want you to be able to see yourself as a woman and be like, hey, I need to work on this.
Mhm.
This is something I'm not doing right. Thus, though, you know what? SB might have had something there last night. I think I might need to consider that. That kind of stuff, actively making ourselves better people. I learned from you all because y'all are from a different generation than me. Me and Dr. Steele are in the same generation, but the others, you all are younger. So y'all helping us out. As far as me, y'all helping me out. But I have something that I'm offering you all that I think that you all want. You want to be married. How do I get from this to this? And it be okay because there's not many people on YouTube telling you marriage is a good thing.
Mhm. I
There's
agree.
some, but not many.
Security boss.
Yes, sir.
Um, I always tell you about the people not listening. Like
Yeah.
we told the women to lose some weight, they said no. We told them burn the wigs, they said no. The usual.
Yeah.
It's not just the women, it's the men too. And it's getting so bad that I go over to places to troll just to go clown because they ain't gonna listen no way. And I gotta hit the red X because I can't even troll them anymore. It's getting that bad. Stuff
Tell
that
me what
ain't
you mean
important.
by not listening.
Just
As
certain
far as men
topics.
go, I understand with ladies, it's very, ladies are special. We are special creatures. We do not want to listen for whatever reason. I know.
Well, unfortunately, there are women-raised men. And I'm not gonna say it's all women-raised, but there's men who are competing for victim cards. I'm like, do you want to be? Are y'all trying to be women? Fighting for power with women. Women are the weaker source. What are you fighting
Yeah.
for? Are you fighting to be a woman and be the weak victim? Or fighting for victim check? I mean, are supposed to be? And I hate to use all the YouTube talking points, but you're supposed to be leading. And they're just saying, well, women are emotional and this, and they can go to the courts and whatever. I'm like, as a man, who's smarter? Are you smarter than one of these regular women that's running out of control? Is be smart enough to stay away from her, or smart enough to talk to and talk some influence, or have some discernment? That's leadership. If she's smarter than you and got the system or whatever, which ain't some superpowers, I'm like, what are we doing? Well, not we. Get my name out of that.
But
But
do you think there's enough examples?
they don't want the examples. I could put 10 married people with supermodel wives, and they'll still say, well, tomorrow ain't promised. She gonna divorce, take half anyway. Well, you got them wives from a different planet. I'm just saying,
Yeah.
it's not just the women.
Well, I get what you're saying, too. But Tamika, how old are you?
I'm 24.
D- are you influenced negatively about from these things on these YouTube spaces? Are you negatively influenced, or do you still manage to stay pretty balanced?
I am not negatively influenced because I don't allow YouTube to influence me.
Okay.
I allow YouTube to give me a sense of direction of the mindset of most people. So yeah, I have my parents to influence me. They've been married for 22 plus years. They're, early 40s, doing really well. And I use that as my influence and God as my influence. So yeah. Mhm.
Very good. So, Dusta, what she's just said, and I thought this too, is we basically have to speak to women. I don't know about men, but women prior to 25 if we want to make a difference. Anything beyond that, I don't think we'll be able to reach. So I don't know what the number is for men, or if it's just like men don't really, like you said, are not interested. I don't know. But I do know for a woman, she has great examples. Hey, Sugar Bum, she has great examples, and that's what is required.
Yeah,
And like I said, I'm here. Me and Mr. Boss are here, but there are not many of us. And again, when you have that negative influence out there telling you that the opposite gender is no good, and they're relating to some of the traumas that you've actually been through, then what do you really expect? It's almost like you got 10 to 1, you got 10 negative stories and one good story. Which way should I go?
yeah, that doesn't apply to me. like my parents, sister, uncles.
Oh no, I'm not talking about you. You know
Oh,
what I
okay.
mean, though.
But I understand that. How to say it? Even with trolling and clowning and whatever, um, there's sometimes I can get one message or say one thing and somebody actually hears something different. Because actually, when I went to Atlanta, there was people who actually came up to me and asked me some questions like, "Hey, man, I never heard. I'm glad you said that because I never heard about or thought about it. Because they always tell us that all the fathers got threw out the homes. I never thought about it because my parents married and nobody knocked on their door. Like sometimes I'll say something and it might actually go into some people's brains. And also understand that if it's misrepresented, people who grew up in 2-parent households or whatever, that sometimes my presence may be needed, and there's something that I can actually say. Aside from the trolling comes first. That's a priority. But sometimes there are people, and there's people I talk to offline where I have something to say, or there's time where I can listen and I can get 1 or 2 messages into somebody. My presence is required. But the negativity and the dust from some of the stuff that comes out of these people's mouths is it's overbearing at times.
Wow.
Like when you talk about how to say it, people talking about reviving the Black community and all that. No, save who you can and run. Get the people who want to go somewhere and run, at least 30 miles away.
May I say something?
Yes.
Sure.
I just think that we should not be trying to save people when we need saving ourselves, and probably focus on ourselves first. And as far as like the saving aspect of it all, like, you are not here to please the whole collective YouTube, to be your woman or to be your husband, right? Like, that's not my job. I'm not here to please everybody or satisfy everybody. I'm just here to satisfy and please one person. And when that man comes to me, then that's my job. And I think that's the problem with these YouTube spaces, is that we're trying to give formulas and recipes to satisfy a group appetite, when really you should just zone in on that one person and find that one person that's willing to work with you, and y'all work together to satisfy each other, and stop trying to take information from outsiders to satisfy the collective of you two. So I don't know. We just got to stop trying to please everyone, because you're not in relationship with everyone, right? It's not who you're trying to marry.
You're
Well,
talking in general, or you're applying to me?
In general, not to you. I
Oh,
don't know
okay.
your business. I don't know.
Oh,
well, let me
go ahead.
say this. Let me say this to Tamika on that. I'm not sure if I understood that, because just like everything, it's easier if you have an example. We learn from examples. You just gave a very good example of how your parents are there for you and you have seen this thing work. If
Yes.
you did not have that, then you would be lost in that area. And I think what we're dealing with is that a lot of people don't have that, and they have no clue on how to be good women, how to be good mothers, or how to be good wives. They have no clue how to be that person for that man. And what
Mhm.
happens is, when that woman that has no clue enters into a relationship with that man that may have a clue, it'll
Mhm.
ruin everything, because she doesn't know her role. And that's how we end up with all these divorces a lot of times, and or vice versa. Say you have a man that didn't have the example of a decent man in the home, or a father in the home. So he has no clue on how to respect and treat a woman. So he may go out and get several sex partners. He may bring home different diseases and things of that nature. He may be abusive or what have you to that woman, therefore causing trauma. Whereas here on in the YouTube space, you have what I thought people would want to look for or would take advantage of, are people who are married, myself, and have been married for a long time, because I just so believe in marriage. I did come from a household where there was a man and woman, husband and wife in a home, though, 2 parents. So this has been my life. So I happen to think I turned out pretty well. And no one has been able to share with me anything that looks the same or as good single. And I'm still looking for it. I'm still looking for that woman or that man to share with me their great life single, their completeness single. I'm not talking about just living. I'm talking about their wholeness single. And unless you can do that, I'm still saying, I want you married. I want you married. I want you married. So that's what I mean. So Tamika, to go back to what you're saying, you have an excellent example in your readiness and you yourself, you're ready for that because you know exactly what to do. And I was at an advantage also because I knew too, because I saw a wife. I knew exactly what to do, good time and bad time. I also saw a man that was negative. I saw a man that was not abusive, but a provider, but not the best person for or in a relationship. I knew what I didn't want, but I didn't hate men. And I just think that that's what we're not seeing. That's not enough. I'm not gonna say variety, but there's just not enough examples of what's good. It's many examples of what's bad, and it's
I
just
agree.
kind of turning us out. Um, Nurse Fancy just said a moment ago in the chat that there are people telling men don't get married. Now, if they don't get married, then what is it that you think they should do? Should we just have a life of random, reckless sex? Should we just continue to create babies that we have no intention on, no intention on fathering? Should we continue to be in the system and become broken and allow the system to just break us down? What is the role of a man that doesn't want to be married? What is it that you want to do? What is it you're going to do? I would love to hear that. And I'm telling you to find love wherever you can. If you want to go to Brazil, Dubai, Dominican Republic, wherever, I don't care. I happen to think women are women. So what is this don't marry? What is the plan for you? Are they giving you an alternative? When they say don't marry, don't get married, what are they telling you to do?
You know, I hear a lot of these YouTube spaces where there have been women telling women you're not to get married, all because all because of their own frustrations. And I think I'm seeing that from the men too, because of their frustrations as well. But they do not realize, men have this energy, but you're not going to have it forever. Like I said earlier, I'm older, okay, and there's going to be a time where I'm not going to have that energy that I used to have. So that's what one thing they need to to understand. When you tell other men, don't marry, okay, you know you're setting them up for something really, really bad.
Mm. I just wonder. I often just wonder. What is the plan? If I'm not getting married, and you shouldn't get married, whatever. It is your choice, of course. But what is the plan for you? To be alone? Everybody, no, I don't think any woman wants to be alone. I don't. So
May
go
I
ahead.
add to it?
Mhm.
Um, I think that they're telling the men not to get married, not necessarily the women. I mean, ultimately, if you tell the men not to marry, then the women can't get married because the men
Right.
don't want to marry. But I think there's a few reasons why they're telling men not to get married. And I don't think there's any solutions to the singleness in the period of non-marrying. And I think it's just feedback to men because they don't like the marriage laws right now and the way that's set up. This is the feedback that I've been listening to from the manosphere. Two, they don't want to get tricked by a 304 or a backfoot hyena because, men marry these women and then they change in the marriage. Three, men don't want to be in sexless marriages, right? Because it's like, okay, you presented this thing to me at first, but then we got here and now you're trying to not to do what you said you was going to do. So I guess men are just scared to be tricked, right? They don't want to be a trick and they don't want to sign up for a long-term contract that if they do marry you, now their assets and resources are now up for grabs because they've committed themselves to a woman who pretended to be something that's not actually who she is. I think a solution to that would be having Miss Crimson Cure calls them lioness, having an older woman or elder in your family who has a good spiritual backing and background that can have discernment to discern whether this is a backfoot dirty foot woman or if this is a true woman who's really of the substance and essence in which she's presenting before you, right? It's just like men. Like my dad, he's gonna court my husband, not court, he's gonna vet my
Yeah.
husband for me. So if my father is going to see this man, have a conversation with them, and then my dad comes back and says, okay, Tamika, this is a good man or this is not a good man, I'm going to heed to that advice, right? And same for, women of substance. Hopefully she's married and seasoned and you trust her, can tell you just based off of having a conversations, a few interactions, like this is a good lady or this is not a good lady. You know what I'm saying? And of course, the men are doing their own due diligence and their research and things of that nature to really vet this woman out. But at the end of the day, nothing is felt proof, right? And so being in relationships is a gamble. People wake up and change, right? She's not going to be the same woman you married 15 years ago. Nope. And you're not going to be the same man you were 15 years ago. So, when you get into a marriage, you are marrying the possibilities of this person. And if you are afraid and you are living in fear, then continue to live in fear and don't marry. Continue to move how you've been moving, and we'll check back in 3 years to see how your results are going. Are you still crying on YouTube about how broken women are and how you are sad that you can't get you a woman? You know what I'm saying? So that's all I got to say about that.
Tamika, you have been listening, and I appreciate that. But everything you said initially, as far as the men, their fears, that's all the same things that they go through right now as single men. They're still dealing with 304s. They're still busting down with no intentions. They're still having random reckless sex and possibly impregnating women that they have no reason or don't even have never want to be with. They're still doing it. They're still subjecting themselves to all those things that they're fearing in one woman. Now, I did love the idea what you said, that you would hope that these men have someone that can vet these women if these are dirty backfeet women or whatever you said. But guess what? A man can properly align himself that he can actually smell it himself.
Amen. Amen.
And he can also put those parameters and those standards in place where he doesn't have to deal with a trashy woman. He can do it himself. Whereas a woman that has all the qualities that he's looking for as a wife, if she don't have it, she can't even approach him. If that's what he wants, he can align himself that way. But he too has to make changes. He can't be open for all the things that he's fearing. He has to actually close the window a little bit. He's got to make a small little entryway and say, if you're not doing this and you're not doing this, you're not doing this, you're not getting in. And then those fears that he have will be lessened, because not every woman gets in. And then he gets to make a sound choice on the woman that he chose. And then guess what? From that point on, you pour everything you got into that woman and make sure she's poured everything she got into you. You ain't got to worry about her leaving. I say this all the time. We do not fire good employees.
Dearly beloved.
You don't. You don't fire good employees. That they show up for the job and they do what they're supposed to do, they stay around forever. You only fire the ones that don't do what they're supposed to do. And if you happen to be a wealthy man going in, get that prenup. Get it.
Protect yourself.
Protect yourself going in. But still, you got to close that door. You can't continue to play amongst the hyenas and think that a lion is going to pop out.
Right.
You can't do it. Religious married aren't recognized by government. Religious marriage aren't recognized by the government. But I'm not sure. What is religious marriage? You mean just us getting together and you telling me that you my wife? That ain't recognized by me either. So I'm glad the government ain't recognized it. I'm not sure what you're talking about, but it's real simple. You have to align yourself and have the mindset for what you want. And we're talking about the laws. I don't really know if the laws have actually changed or not. What was that comment? Let me see. Tap in. What did you just say? Sorry about that. It went away so quickly. Exactly. I appreciate the Boss family. They are impartial. Listen, I am, because it takes two to make this thing work. I can't do this without Mr. Boss being willing. Mr. Boss can't do this without me being willing. And in this, if I'm not willing, there's a bunch of growing pains I got to have. I'm not interested. I want to live good. I want to live easy. So why not go along with the plan? What else do I have That's what I'm trying to say. I want someone single to tell me that they live just as good as we do as a married couple, and they're just as whole in that space and don't need anything else. And I don't think they can. But if so, I'm willing. I'm willing to entertain that. It may be somebody out there because guess what? For us, it's not about the money. Money comes and goes. Now things are easy when the money is there, and I'm not gonna lie to y'all, but it's not about that. It's not about that. I gotta love this man when he broke.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I just have to. So we got something here. They will fire good employees if you are a bad boss or trying to be a boss. That's what you talking about. I never get rid of good employees. I don't. I give them raises. I show them appreciation. I do whatever I can do to make sure that they're happy.
Yeah.
Bad bosses don't do that. So you saying bad men will get rid of a good woman? I don't know. You know, I guess it works both ways. You know, the man is the head, so maybe. So Harris family, thank you so much for your $5 super chat. He says everyone who is getting a state-sanctioned marriage should get a prenup. A prenup keeps the state out of the marriage and protects it at the same time. There you go. Listen, when me and Mr. Boss got into this, both of us came in with minimal assets and what have you. Since then, things have changed. But guess what? I've been married 27 years. Whatever mine is his. I always put it all in one pot anyway, and I've never worried about that. I'm almost perfectly sure that Mr. Boss would take care of me forever, whether we're together or not.
You know,
and the same for me. I wouldn't dare. Come on. I mean, that's over half my life I've spent with this man. Over half my life. If we're not together, what I'm going to say, I don't know you no more. Or we didn't do it together. You did it. I did it without you. You did it without me. Absolutely not. We did it together. And that's the point you want to get to. Tamika says, keep up the good work. Thank you, Tamika, for your $4.99. That's my point, guys. That is my point. Marriage is, for me, the answer. The nuclear family is the answer. If we want productive children going forward, we need to make sure that that's what we're producing. We got to give them the best chance possible. And it's not me. I'm done with that. It's you all. It's Tamika. It's Dusto. We're, Dr. Steele and I are probably done with that. But you all, it's on you guys to make sure that this thing continues to go on. So in order to produce good children, it has to come from two good people most of the time. Sounds nice, security, but it should be good for the great Black community. You know what? It should be, Mr. Scotland, but you know what? Not everybody cares. And I'm aware of that. Y'all know I told Mr. Mark the other day that everything trashy and negative, we give it to the Black community or we put it on the Black people. Everything. We embrace it. Everything trashy. Listen, if somebody does something wrong, the Black people did it. If this is within the Black so-called community, I'm with you, Dusto. But if the Black people in the community do something good, they say we acting like white people. Did y'all realize that?
Mm-hmm. White is right.
White is right, even though you're Black. If I'm doing something right as a Black woman, I'm being controlled by the white man. I'm following that white religion. I'm following that white God. I'm doing something. It's ridiculous. Why
you gotta say what?
Just as a Black woman, be in order and love to live like that. Why everything negative has to be Black? Can somebody help me with that? Why do we own everything negative as Black people?
Security boss, I troll these people every time. Every time I hear it, I troll them. But it's gotten so bad, I don't even troll them anymore when they say this dumb stuff.
Why do we do that, Dusto? Why do we have to own everything negative as Black people?
Because people don't own anything else.
It was a white man that did it. Y'all are doing what the white man tell you to do. What? Because I didn't want to rob the bank?
The bank is white. They did a DNA test last week. The bank is white.
The bank is white.
Mm-hmm.
I believe it's Basically,
Yeah, we can't get married anymore because of redlining. From redlining in 1886, that's why we can't have any marriages anymore.
You know what? You didn't kill nobody. Oh no, you didn't kill nobody or rob nobody yesterday. Oh, you didn't delete anybody yesterday, and you don't get high for a living. You just doing what the white man tell you to do.
Exactly. We don't have any power either. Yeah.
Yeah, everything, any and everything positive.
Yeah. I'm not a real black man.
You're not.
Mm-mm.
So, in order for me to be a real black woman, listen, I had a woman tell me the other day I'm on the darker end of the spectrum and I still don't know how to act. How about that? Ain't that something? I'm on the darker end of the spectrum and I still don't know how to act. I'm like, wow.
Those dark-skinned girls are aggressive and masculine. That's what they said.
I don't know if she was light-skinned or not. I just couldn't get over it. And I said, you know what? Say it again. And maybe you should say it slow so you can think about what you're saying because I'm winning. But it should make you ask yourself what you did wrong. That's actually what, yeah, that was a real boom. There you go, Dusto. You got it. Get the right expression. That should have been the question. What am I doing wrong? Because the one on the darkest end of the spectrum don't get it because it didn't apply to me. And I'm not going to allow it to apply to me. I want a good life where I don't have to worry about a whole lot of different things that don't benefit me. You know, I'm real, you know, Dusto, I'm back with you. How you troll? How you teach me?
Girl, trolling is fun. It's so fun.
No, security.
Teach me how to troll because I'm about ready.
Those comments comments qualify as trolling, and I believe the trolls are quite pleased with your comments.
Hey.
What do you say? Thumbs up?
Hey, let me tell you.
Okay.
You should watch the Dusto Spear security boss.
Okay, when does the Dusto Spear come on? Because I gotta learn how to troll. I'm about to be down with this thing because when people start talking crazy, I'm just gonna be putting some crazy stuff in there. I'm like, your mama, you know,
your mama black.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say some weird stuff. I'm gonna let them think about it. What?
No, seriously.
Is she talking about my mama? Yeah, your mama black. Why not?
They're like,
Dusto, when the show come on, I'm gonna write it down right now. When can I come? I need you to teach me.
Oh goodness, the Dusto show.
It's 4 episodes floating around. The last 2 they were fire.
Can I learn what I need to know about trolling? Because I'm ready.
Trolling. Eventually, you just start watching. You keep hearing the same thing. Men yelling over men. Because the men on men is this: I'll make more money than you do. Well, yeah, I got more women. Or I'll fly to your city and punch in your teeth because I'm from the street. You hear it every week, the same thing. And the women, y'all ain't making up. Eventually, you hear the same thing. So just pitch anything out because they ain't gonna listen no way.
So should I say, like when the men doing that, should I say, is this feminine energy? Just asking. That's trolling?
That is trolling.
Got it. Okay.
So, Troll 101. But the Dustosphere is on Black Men Unfiltered Network, Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
I think
the
I can do this.
Episodes, you might want to go check those out. They're fire.
Hey, Bethany, I think I can do this. Now listen, are you giving out somebody say J Prince vibes?
No name.
J Prince vibes. Oh, you trolling me.
That's a troll right there.
You trolled me on that one. You trolled me. You did. You got me. So listen, I think I can do this. So y'all look out for SB trolling, right? I'm gonna be all into it. I'm gonna be dedicated to trolling because otherwise, and then you know, when y'all come back over here on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I'm gonna be real serious. And if y'all accuse me of trolling, I'm gonna be like, it wasn't me.
Right. Can I answer your original question about, you know, black people saying that white is right, or basically saying that white is right?
Yeah, you said yes.
Okay. So my response to that is just kind of like the analogy that people give, like about the black cat. Like the black cat is the black cat blamed because it's black, or is it blamed because they need something else to like produce that is bad? You know what I'm saying? And so I just feel like the black cat always get the bad rep. You know, people want to be the light of this world, light, white. You know, I don't know. I just feel like it's a conditioning thing. I mean, even in my own household, sometimes, you know, just because I've changed to eating more fruits and vegetables, and my palate doesn't look like how would it look like at home because it produced a fat woman. You know, my mama sometimes be like, "You eat like white people. You eat that rabbit food. You eat but anything that's good is white. Like, why is that? You know?" So it's a conditioning thing. I don't know. It's weird.
Thank God I wasn't
so
taught this
listen.
stuff
Okay,
growing up.
I'm gonna give you a little bit of pushback on that, Tamika, because I like what you said about the black cat, because everybody's scared of the black cat. It got a bad rap, you know. But when are we, if it's conditioning, how come all of us didn't get it?
Because some people can choose to turn on the television and believe in the vision that's being told, and some of us can just watch television for pure entertainment. Just like I can be in the manosphere and listen to majority of the black hole business that's being produced and not let that influence my outcomes. You know what I'm saying?
So you actually have seen and witnessed some conditioning, because when I hear people say stuff like that, I just think they just plain dumb.
Well,
I
I ain't
don't
gonna
see
call my
that
mama
as,
dumb now.
I just, I'm telling mama she shouldn't have said that. I just think that's plain dumb. I'm sorry. Because everything white is not right. And it's okay for you to choose whatever it is that you want to do. I don't think that should be associated with the color. But my point I'm trying to make is, does that change your thought process?
No, I don't call it dumb. I call it lack of knowledge and ignorance. And
Your mom know better than that. She
you
knows.
know what? You know what? Black mamas are always right, and we just gonna let black mama do what she need to do. Shoot, okay?
Security boss,
Yes.
thank God. Thank my parents and great grandparents and grandparents and aunts and uncles, whoever. I was not taught this ignorant, stupid, blackety black, melanin, wheeze gauze, the man gonna get us. I was not taught this stupid stuff. I don't hear it in real life because I won't accept it. People who know me in real life know not to come at me with it because they know what they're gonna get in return.
So Tamika is ignorant, dumb. Well, what you
No,
say?
not talking about, no, not Tamika. No, Tamika's
No,
cool.
no, I'm going to ask her, is that better? Is that better?
Word ignorance, yes, because it's a lack of knowledge. You just don't
Okay.
know. You
Okay,
don't know
so
what you don't
I'm
know.
gonna change what I'm saying. That's just ignorant for somebody to make everything that is good white.
But here's the problem.
I don't see the conditioning in it, though. I don't see the conditioning. That's the part I'm having trouble with, because if it was conditioning, I'm trying to figure out why we all are not conditioned that way, because we've all heard it.
You just chose not to sip the Kool-Aid. You chose not to sip on the tea. And some people decided, dang, this Kool-Aid is good because they love the sugar, but it gives them diabetes. You understand? You get it now? Does it make sense now?
Well, security
She said
boss,
it don't make sense.
you also know that it's not even true.
I'm sorry. I said what?
A lot of us are even smart enough to know that it's not even true. Like, you do real estate, right?
Right.
You know black people and put black people in homes.
Right.
So they're not living out in the street somewhere because of redlining 50 years ago.
No.
I'm just saying.
I mean, I've experienced some things that was. I've listened. I've dealt with a lot of people. I've had people tell me, because I got a higher. Well, I ain't gonna even repeat it. But anyway, there has been a lot of conspiracy things, a lot of conspiracies out there that people have put out there to, for whatever reasons, put us in a place or keep us in a place. No, I don't agree with them, because I'm always kicking down a door and it doesn't apply. I'm always the darkest one. So I'm like, okay, guys, I'm the darkest one. I kicked down the door. That didn't apply. We gotta stop with this. Male Logic says, Auntie, unsolicited security boss, why you can't take Tamika's answer? That's just the plain simple answer. What answer am I, Tamika? What answer did I not take from you?
The lack of understanding.
because it's
Yeah.
not applying to everybody.
Of
Like, for
course.
instance, when people say to me conditioning, it's almost like the feminist movement. The feminist movement has basically gotten in almost 80% of the woman's head. Wouldn't y'all say that? About 80% of the women are affected by the feminist movement in some way, shape, or form. Would y'all agree with that? 80% of the women. About 80% of the women.
I
Now,
agree.
yeah, about 80%. There's a small portion. All depends on where you came in at, when you were born, and all of that. That says, okay, it didn't get me. Now, I'm not saying all of them are extremists. I'm just saying have been affected by. So, male, this is why I'm saying I'm conditioning. I'm not saying, I do get the conspiracy of it, but it is so the ratio is not, because I'm going to say it's only about 30% of the people who actually think that way. 95 are Tap is say 95% are affected at unsolicited security, but 95% of what are affected? Women, I'll even give you that much. But with this theory here that everything white is right and everything black is negative, my goodness, I would say that's no more than about 30%.
I just got a question.
Yes.
If everything white is so right, why aren't they following what the white people are doing there?
That's what I'm trying to say. It's not a consistent thing. It's just like, for instance, somebody the other day, who was it? Modern Renaissance man. They approached somebody. He said so a couple people approached him and said, "You married to a white woman, aren't you?" His wife is black. But it was because the way he presented himself. He was very articulate. He said he worked in medicine. He just had to be married to. It's like the black woman didn't deserve a brother that was just good. You know, it's like, why not? Why didn't she? It's okay. You know? So I'm just saying, y'all, we got to do better than that. If it is conditioning for some, I'm glad I didn't drink the Kool-Aid. So Tamika, I'm accepting the Kool-Aid situation. Y'all don't drink the Kool-Aid. Keep doing and being who you are. Being the best versions of yourself. Dusto, I don't know. I'm coming over. I need some ideas. I need some good trolls. I need them kind of give you an A+ rating. I need that. So I'm coming to visit. I'm gonna become a troll. I don't know how y'all gonna like that, but I'm gonna become a troll. Mel says no. Answer the security box. Tamika gave you the answer. Some people and break out social conditions and make the choice of themselves, and some people can't. Why is why? Oh, this is why I'm supposed. This is why they fall. I agree with you. I'm gonna have to submit to that. Y'all got it.
Thank you, Mel.
Mel, you got it. Y'all got it. You want Tamika nailed it because right now I'm getting J Prince vibes. Is that trolling? Is that trolling? I don't know.
You're getting better. You're getting better. You're getting better.
All right. So listen, guys, I've been here 2 hours and I have had such a fun time talking to you guys. And I hope y'all come back. Y'all know Sunday night is not my thing, but me and Black Man gonna be here tomorrow night, and y'all know how we do. So I want all y'all to come back, laugh with us, have fun with us, talk to us, and we will have a good night tomorrow. I don't know the subject yet, but we're going around the world, but we're gonna have also something serious we're gonna talk about. So y'all make sure y'all come back tomorrow. But for now, chat, comment section, y'all have been outstanding as always, and I appreciate you guys. SB is back. Mr. Boss is with me. So listen, look out for us this week. We're gonna be busy. Thank you, guys. See you soon.
Let's get around. Let's keep spinning. Let's keep playing these games that we don't want to finish. And I'm sorry if that sounds a bit bitter, but I am to the core. You want the whole damn thing, then you ask him for more. You want that old jive swing, you take up all of the floor. I'm fine with standing at the edge of the door. You be the life of the party. I blend in with the core. You drink it all to Bacardi. Till the bottle's no more. Let's take it back for this started. You want the love, I don't got it. Got my soul on the road. You screaming, stay, please don't go. Don't think it's in me to listen to foe. It's so different with distance we roam into zones where nothing get hurt anymore. I just wish I was home when I step through front door, but instead I'm alone and completely unsure. And even though you're screaming out with the best of intentions, I don't get it. Why do you always gotta ask me to stay? Why you always gotta go? Playing house, this ain't a home with your soul on the road. Say, why you always gotta go? Playing house, this ain't a home with your soul on the road. See, I've been lost in my thoughts, and my thoughts they too scared to usher off. Sorry, Mom, I just thought you were my world. Now you're not. And I'm just sitting, smoking, sloping in a daze, cause my days ain't been the same since I drove here away. I remember the way you wrote letters in blue ink. You and me was in love. Think about what your crew think. I know your moms probably think I'm a bastard. Your pops probably wanna beat my death and take a in my casket. But I got sick of fighting, bickering, fussing over nothing, cussing. Instead of watching the death of discussions that we once had, days that we once spent in the backseat of our cars, reading poets at sunset. It's funny how love can pull out the foreground, get pushed into the back of your mind. We used to twist a spliff and laugh and relax. Are you crying? And I'm trying to find the reason, so I ask, does forever ever happen, or is it always fade to black? I can't stay. No, I always gotta go. Playing house, this ain't a home with my soul on the road. I can't stay. No, I always gotta go. Playing house, this ain't a home with my soul on the road.